I am scared, so let's be scared so I can fight.
Hello, everybody.
Fight?
Microphone does work. Hello, everybody. I'm so glad to see everybody here. I cannot believe how big CCS has grown. I don't even know where I'm at right now. Thank you. Good looking. All right. I'm so excited to be here. I can't believe the talent and all the work. I can't wait to talk to every last one of you guys. You guys are like light years away from where we were back in my day. So one of the things is, how many of you guys in the audience like video games and movies? Just show of hands. Yes, sir. All right, excellent. Because that is one of the biggest things that's driven my life, my family, and the focus that put me in a position to just hit the stars running. I'd like to just take you guys on a little bit of a journey of how I got to the game industry. So if you guys bear with me, one of the biggest things that I have to start with is the foundation, which is my family and my mother. My mother was a powerful woman. She took all the time, there's 6 of us, by the way, and she made each one of us feel like we were just one. And the thing with me that I thought was just unbelievable with her is her foresight and understanding. I was a dyslexic child. And as my sister would tell you, I was a crybaby too. But I just needed stuff in my hands. I needed to build. My mom knew that. So she did things like buy me crayons and paint and stuff like that. And then just told me, hey, shoot for the stars so you will land among the stars. I'm gonna take that from my brother. So that is one of the things that my mom had pushed me on. And we did things in our family like my stepdad would take us to see movies and dinosaurs and really try to use our imagination. One of the things that I did was, and my brothers were my accomplice, my mom was really hot one time and she was telling me this was burning up in here. And I said, you know, Mom, I am going to design us a swimming pool. My mom was proud of that. She just didn't know I was going in the backyard to dig out a pool in the backyard and put a bunch of garbage bags all over the place. So that was a disaster. And then another time is trying to build a dinosaur museum in our basement, digging out dirt and putting bushes and stuff in our basement. My brothers made the business cards. We were ready to go. My stepdad almost passed out. My mother, she had tears in her eyes because she saw that it was going to be a lot of cleaning, but she saw the vision that I was trying to go for because I did designs, everybody, drawings. I did all my storyboards. I knew exactly what that pool was going to look like. I didn't know why I needed storyboards. But let me introduce you guys to my rock, my family. My brothers and sisters are the reason why everybody with brothers and sisters understands you get pushed and nudged to just sharpen yourself. My older brother, Dwayne, he introduced me to Indiana Jones and Star Wars and movies and stuff like that. And my sister, Ebony, would take us around and take us to areas with waterfalls and all these really cool stuff. And I just had it in my head. I just could not get it. I could not stop looking at environments and stuff. And my 2 brothers, oh my God, playing video games and a lot of the banter back and forth between my brothers were definitely a push. So just fast forwarding, we moved to a school called King High School. Like we moved to downtown Detroit and I ended up going to a school called King High School. It was the first time that I met this amazing artist named Leonard Piercy. It was the first time. I did a lot of drawings and sketches that I learned from my family, my mom and my brother. But this is the first time I understood or saw someone that understood anatomy and lighting and things like that. And I was stunned. I could not believe someone so young could be so far. His work looked like it was right out of a comic book. And he would teach me and have me draw, and he taught me composition as much as he could. But he said, let me introduce you to a teacher, Mrs. Burrell. Mrs. Burrell is, she's like my second mom, home away from home. She pulled me out from skipping class and putting me into assignments, and all these contests that came up. She would have me draw, and then she really helped me understand lighting and composition and a little bit of design. And I started entering art contests and lost a lot, failed a lot, which was a good thing because as you gamers understand, you lose a lot to win. And that's basically how life is. It's okay to fail. It's just about how fast you pick yourself up and keep going. So Ms. Burrell constantly put me in contests, and eventually something strange happened. I actually won one. And then the next thing happened, I won another one. And then they just kept coming in. And so she said, you know what, if you keep this up, you might be able to get into CCS. And I was like, what is that? I had no vision or thought of college, or like I wanted to, but I didn't know what to do. I know I wanted to work in film or the game industry. I just had no idea how to do that. And she said, you know what, we're gonna get you in CCS because they'll know what to do. And we put together my portfolio and submitted it, and I couldn't believe I was accepted to CCS. And that was scary. That was one of the more scarier things that I've ever had to do because I never really had to do art and work and all the classes and stuff. So I immediately started to meet different people, and I met a very special person, actually a special group. And that was Sylvia Ostermiller, Cliff Harris, Laura Menino, and my buddy Gus. These people are the ones who kept me focused. Sylvia Ostermiller, she helped me understand how to divide my work and focus and timing and planning and pay attention to the clock and study. Cliff Harris, he did the same thing. He would make sure, hey, how's that work coming, man? How's things going? And I needed the opportunity to separate, the reading time. As a dyslexic student, I had to come up with different techniques to be able to go through all the work. So there's tons of techniques that I learned, and I've got it mastered now, believe me. And so Sylvia, she really worked with me, and before I knew it, I became a tutor, which was crazy. I can't believe I actually became a tutor. I told my mom, she was like, really? Okay, see, keep aiming, So at that point, I would always be in the computer labs, like all the time. And at that point, that's when I met Laura Menino. Laura is very special. As you guys know, or maybe it's different now, it's been about a good 20 years, I was starving when I was at CCS. So I was doing the work and trying to figure out how to pay bills and do things like that. Laura was like, you know what, you're here every day, and we need lab proctors. And she made me an offer, just come and work. I thought that was just one of the most beautiful things ever. The other thing she noticed is I wasn't eating. So she would bring in food and be like, don't tell anybody, just eat, you're not eating. So I thought that was so special. So thank you so much to Laura and Ms. Burrell and Sylvia Ostermiller. We lost Sylvia Ostermiller like a couple of years ago, which crushed me. But over time, I ended up meeting more people that were really close, that just really had my back, and we had each other's back. And it's very important as you students graduate and move on to remember the people who are really close to you, who will help you, because my friend Gus, he ended up getting a job in the automotive industry, and you'll hear a little later in the story. Once I got to California, it was really, really hard. And so he saw that he had a job, but I hadn't had one yet, and he brought me in, helped me out, him and Laura. So it's good to stay close to your friends because then you can start to help each other out. One thing that was amazing that happened with Sylvia Ostermiller is we're coming close to graduation, CCS, and internship season. She called out, she said, Damarcus, there is Disney's doing a college, internship. And you had to put together a video, submit some work, and just kind of tell a little bit about yourself. And so she said, we're gonna submit you need to get your stuff in there so you could try this out. And I didn't think I had a chance, but we tried it. And sure enough, I was on the road to Florida, I got accepted. So it was really cool. The thing with Disney was I did half jobs. The thing was you shadow You find a job, you shadow. I was a lifeguard, and then I worked for MGM Studios. And we were working on Lilo and Stitch at the time, and my job was to make the best cup of coffee you've ever seen, which was the worst, because I don't drink coffee. So, but it was awesome because I got to sit around and get a glimpse, a peek of what the industry could look like for me. I looked around at all the workers, I saw what they were doing. I got to poke my head in Maya. That's a 3D program that, for those of you who don't do 3D. And I got to do some, just a little bit of work with them. And that was such a massive experience for me because it really put my mind in a space where, you know what, this is real. This could actually happen. If I actually focus and put my work out there and keep pushing, something may happen, uncharted territory. So trip was over. I was there for about a year, and then I was ready to move. My mind was made up. Graduation, CCS happened. I'm sorry, can't find my pictures of graduation, so if anybody has any, please send them my way. I knew I needed to move to California because the animation and film was there and not here in Detroit, unfortunately, because I love my family so much I didn't want to move. But I will never forget when I had to tell my mom that, hey, Mom, I think I have to go because I can't do anything once I graduate. Even though she tried to find me a job, she was like, I found a cool gaming job for you. And it was the casino doing, I was like, Mom, I showed you Tomb Raider, difference. So anyway, I noticed that there was quite a few people who was moving to California from CCS. And so I reached out to them and said, hey guys, do you have room for an extra person? Because I'm heading out that way. And they were like, yeah, dude, just come along. It's just a bunch of us. We barely know each other. The plan is to get an apartment, group together, and then get a job, and then try to get a real job. Needless to say, that was a disaster. But it was something that if I had to go back in time, I would do it again 3 times over, because I learned so much about myself, other people, and I dug so deep that I had to make it work. I didn't have enough money to go back home, so I had to make it work. We basically got to California, and my first thoughts was, you know what? I used to be a lifeguard. What can I do as a day job? And I became a fitness trainer, which actually I ended up doing it at night. During the day, I went door to door to different studios. I had address. And just to let you guys know, taking your portfolio to door is very different than what it was today. When I say taking a portfolio, I mean a portfolio that you carry. Not a portfolio here, a portfolio here. And then I had a disc, because there was no internet like there was today. You can't download a demo reel. You got to get them to open the door so you can give them a demo reel. I have to tell everybody just real quick, there's an amazing person I just saw in the crowd, Jason Kane. This guy is a legend. He's one of the people that inspired the crap out of me. Thank you, Jason. I'm sorry, I just saw you there, man. Yeah, door to door, going to different studios, and I got the same answer that you guys, I don't know if you will experience this today, hopefully not, very different world. You don't have enough experience, and the budget has already been made. So you just kind of got to go door to door. I had to adjust my game a little bit and said, tell you what, how about you don't have to pay me, and I will come in and just work. And of course, I got a lot more no's, because they're like, you crazy? I'm not getting sued. No thanks. You're a kid walking around. I finally come across a studio called Big Red Pixel. And Big Red Pixel, they were a post-production house that I didn't understand how the industry worked. I just knew that they were making movies or visual effects. And I interviewed, same answers, budgets made, can't help you, kid, get out of here. A director came out as I was walking back to my car, and he said, hey, listen, man, I know how it is. How about, he was like, the budget is made, we can't pay you. He was like, but I can get you gas, and I can get you lunch. Can you want to try, just so you can get some work going? And I basically turned around because I was getting ready to cry. I was like, well, yeah, let's do this. You know, of course, that was a nightmare to work 2 jobs and doing all this work. But the biggest thing they asked me to do was to create. They were doing a Brunswick commercial, and they wanted me to create a bowling alley in 3D and light it and everything. I took off, went to the nearest bowling alley, took tons of pictures in Santa Monica, modeled the entire building, the full structure, all of the everything inside of it, came back and built them an entire building just in case they wanted to film in other areas. And they were like, all right, we got to figure out how to hire this kid. And so my first job with them, we got a deal with, I can't remember the name of the studio at the time. A lot of studios come and go. But our first movie was League of Extraordinary Gentlemen. And so my job was to build this hangar that you see on the right side. So I built that out, and I was super excited because this was my first time being able to, work on a film that is actually going to be put out there. And I was just stunned that it actually happened. I didn't get paid at all, but I had some experience and I had work to show. But I was also hearing something else strange was starting to happen. I was hearing that the studio was in trouble. And so I started to ask around, and same gentleman, Peter, he told me I should put my work on an old station called CG Talk. I put it up there, and I see that, sorry everybody, I see the time going down a little bit, so I'm gonna just speed this up a little bit. I put my work out, and I got a call from a gentleman named Mike Wallen, and he said, dude, I really like your work. I bet you I can get you plugged in. Got a call back from a company called Valve. Valve liked my work, and they said, hey man, we love your work. It feels like really gritty. We're making a game like that. And we would love for you to come in and do our 3D skybox models. And I was really stunned. I had this mindset of, at the previous studio, there were rumors we might have worked on Spider-Man 2, and I really wanted to work on that. I was gonna just do spider webs, that's it. And so basically, I wanted to move on, and I wanted to work on that. But my friend was like, dude, you need to go to the studio. And he said, by the way, can you give him my resume? When I realized that, I was like, this might be real. So I went and did that, and got the job, and we shipped Half-Life 2. Went on, so after Half-Life 2, that was a really big deal, because the conversation changed. It had nothing to do with experience or anything like this. It was, now my work is out there, and I was able to communicate with different game studios. So my life felt like it moved into a fast pace at that point. Just meeting lots of people, having good conversations. So another major thing that happened while I was in Seattle, I met my wife, Janice. And so, what was awesome about that, or pretty crazy, is I'd worked for Valve for 3 years, and was going to move on to EA, or I was heading to EA to work on a game called Dead Space. That game, but it was the last 5 months of me being there, and I met my wife in that time. I almost missed her, so that was pretty wild. So I moved to San Francisco with her, and we got prepared to make Dead Space. We did a demo for E3. If you guys haven't heard this, although E3 might be not existing this year, but it was a big games conference that happened in California. We do all of our work and kill ourselves to demonstrate for you guys new games. But they weren't ready for a game like Dead Space, and so we actually they thought it was too scary. That was the time we were doing Lord of the Rings and doing other games like that. So we ended up doing From Russia with Love, James Bond, which was cool, but it wasn't Dead Space. It wasn't sci-fi. But there, I built a lot of 3D models. Got to meet Sean Connery for a second time. And yeah, I built the DV5 and some of those other projects, different vehicles. And just kind of moving along, so one thing that's huge in the industry, a lot of people tend to work 3 to 4 years and then you move on to the next job. You level up, and then you move to the next level. So I moved on to San Diego, and I made a game called Dark Kingdom, and that was when the PS3 was first coming out. I know I just dated myself with that one. And so from there, we made that, and I got a call from Todd McFarlane and Kurt Schilling, and we started a studio called 38 Studios. And at that point, this was really cool because I got to meet a lot of good developers. And we made a game called Reckoning. I don't know if you guys ever got a chance to check that out. I was the principal world builder on that one, so I did a lot of 3D art, a lot of lighting and composition and gameplay space, and worked really close with Todd McFarlane. But unfortunately, 38 Studios ended up dying after 8 years. It was a huge story. Catch me outside, I'll step you through it. And so I was preparing for a presentation, but then it happened, and so 38 died, and then I got a call from Mike Wallen, and he was like, hey, there is an art director role in Japan. Can you be in Japan by next week? Also, we were just having a little baby. So my wife and I, we talked about it, and we did a half. Back in the days, it was called Skype, not Zoom. So I flew to Japan, and I worked on a game called Metal Gear Solid. And I worked with Kojima, and we worked very hard on this game. And my job was to communicate with a massive studio in Singapore and India all through the hours, looking at tons of art, lots of work, a lot of narrative writing, a lot of composition, a lot of gameplay space, until we got this game out the door. And he asked if I would move my family to Japan as we had this guy. It was a full no-go. So, but I have a friend now. Kojima is always ready to work together on the next project, which I will cash that in at some point. So this is my son, Aiden, and I'm so very proud of him. He's such a strong little warrior. We talk philosophy, gameplay, video games, and how much money can I give him, so. So we moved back to LA, Laguna Beach, and this brings us up to current. I worked at a studio called Red 5 Studios. We made a game called Firefall. Did pretty good. It was a big open world type of game. It was mostly sold in Japan, so it's actually done pretty good out there. But I started hearing a little bit of similar things that I heard at 38 when 38 was going under. So with the little one, it kind of made me a little nervous. So I ended up moving on after we shipped. You never leave in the middle of a project. No go. So that brought me to current where I'm at now at Blizzard. I started and I worked on 5 expansions of World of Warcraft. And I went from a world builder, which at Blizzard, you do it all. You do 3D modeling, you do concept painting, you do level design, and we're basically guide players through the playable spaces. And then I moved to principal, and I was content supervisor on Warlords of Draenor. I don't know if you guys got a chance to play any of those. I made a world called Nazmir, New Nagran. I made raids with a gentleman named Craig Amai, and he and I, we kicked off another game, which is Blizzard's newest IP that I can't talk about right now, but you guys will see us up on BlizzCon coming up pretty soon. So this was cool. And all the while, we had this little one. This is my little girl, Jacksamia. She loves putting makeup and doing the reason why I have this hair is because if I cut it, I'm out of the house, according to her. So I'm stuck with it. So this is just kind of quick overall of like how much I've traveled. My overall message is, if you have a vision, stick with it, work hard. You will fail, you will make mistakes, but that is actually good because you are growing when you make mistakes. You only fail when you stop, when you give up and just go another direction, to a degree. That could be another plan, but that's another conversation. So here's some of the games that I put out. I'm missing another 8 that wouldn't fit on the screen, but I'm happy to step you guys through it. And guys, everybody has their muse, their strength, their focus. Mine just happens to be my family. I'm so close. I'm so proud of each and every one of them. They push me to where I'm at. And now it's strange. I have to pinch myself because now I'm the world director at Blizzard Entertainment. So thank you so much. And that's it. I unfortunately killed the time. I wanted to do Q&A. I think I blew that out the water. So I'll be floating around. Do I? Oh, excellent. So looks like I got a few. So if anybody has any questions, please hit me. This is the real reason why I wanted to be here. I had to think, what did I want when I was in CCS? What would have helped me and Jason? You know? So.
Okay, it works. I got a question right here, in the middle.
Boom, got you.
Do you know anything about Half-Life 3?
Stay tuned. How's that? I would love to give you more on that, but Gabe would kill me. My career will be over. I'll be not good. I can tell you that we've written an entire series for 5 games. But I don't know what happened to. Yeah, sorry. Yeah. Oh, sorry. Hey.
So you've worked on a lot of projects, and my question is, which one did you learn the most on? And also, what was your favorite?
Oh, that's such a good question. I love that question so much. My favorite, I would have to say, before I started on this new IP that we're working on, it would have been 38 Studios. This is a combo answer. I learned so much because our studio was learning together. I had to wear a lot of hats. I had to dig deep, which reminded me of what I was doing here at CCS. A lot of the learnings and the trainings that I got from CCS served. So yeah, I would say 38 Studios. It crushed me when our studio died. But I made some great friends. I can call Todd McFarlane up right now. I can call Kurt Schilling up right now. We made a game called Reckoning that got, I think we got a 98. So did pretty good. Yeah.
Thank you.
So you have a lot of experience. I just wondering, 10 years before, do you see yourself at this position, or you just like stay with time, like keep going? Like?
10 years from now, I'll have a studio here. We'll be working on a game.
Okay. So
probably hiring a lot of you guys. I'm past that.
Yep, here.
Hey. There we go. Sorry.
Firstly, you're my new career goal.
Oh, awesome.
And secondly, what would you say is the most important program that you've learned?
Program. Oh, I would say, okay, this is going to throw you guys probably. Foundation. I had to learn compositional drawing, understanding anatomy, lighting, the basics, because technology changes so much. I can't tell you how many programs I have in my head right now. I'm serious. I've gone through so many. I know Unreal inside out. Maya, ZBrush, we use all this stuff, but it changes so much. So I would say, what speaks to you to help you get your vision out? And a person like me will see your talent, and you will be on our side. So.
Hello, sir.
Hey. Hey. What's up, man?
Right.
There's another legend, everybody. Let's give this guy a round of applause, man. My goodness. What's up, Gil?
All right. So I have a question. We have
Yes, sir.
big conversation going on at the college right now.
Okay.
About the impact of AI.
Ooh, yeah, yeah.
So could you
Yes, be happy.
talk about that a little bit?
Absolutely. I'm
Right, thank
so
you.
happy to talk about that. So AI is we use it obviously for our NPCs that walk around, players. One of the things, especially the project that I'm not talking about right now, is to make it interesting is how do we make, when you come in as a gamer, you will figure out the patterns. My brother's always talking about patterns, like how do we break these patterns? Or our AI can figure out and record what you've been doing based off what you're doing, and then it'll change it up. So we'll front load it with a lot of scenarios, and we try them out. We run it, and it learns off of itself. That said, I'm not a massive fan of it going the way that they're trying to use it. There's so many components to, like writing stories, painting, doing concept art. Right now, we're talking about that in industry right now too. It's not fully there, but it's right knocking on the door. I can see where it has its strengths, but I personally don't think that it'll ever take over personal human talent. I think there is that phase where it can mimic everything we've done, but it's only as good as the amount of algorithms you put back into it. So if you do like a painting of a guy going like this, and you do another one and another one, and it'll repeat itself, I think it helps us move along. It certainly helps us with the concepting phase, but it's not a finished piece. I think what will end up happening is a lot of people will use it to even do full-on projects, and eventually I think it's going to get to that scary mode. But we're all learning just like you guys are. I work around engineers and programmers who love this stuff, and they're basically like, Damarcus, model a mountain real quick. And then, are you okay if I record you? I'm like, sure. And I'm doing it, and I show them, and the next thing I know, hey, check this out. It's the same exact one. And then there's different seeds to change it up. So there's a process in what we call ProcGen, where we basically generate different, geological changes in the terrain. Same thing with, you guys probably heard of speed tree. You just create all these seeds that gets fed into an algorithm. So yeah, that's a tricky one. That's one we're still learning on.
So you said something that was really critical when you were asked, what was the most important thing that you learned here? You talked about foundation.
Foundation.
Right, so is it safe to say that the way to address this thing that's happening quickly is to shore up and make sure that you have a powerful foundation so that you understand process?
Yeah, I would say, so for the individual, 100% get your foundational skills together. But unfortunately, I do think that there will be a time where, I don't know, Jason could probably speak better to it than I could, of how this stuff would eventually take over. I hate to answer that because that's not like where, like I don't actually create AI, but I work around a lot of people who feel very, they feel like that might be a thing in the future a lot. So more than what we're seeing now. So yeah.
Hello.
Not the best answer.
Is this on?
Hey.
Hello.
Boo.
Right over here in the back.
How are you?
As you were growing your career, you were moving all around the country and starting a family. Those were some pretty big decisions.
Yeah.
How were you able to come to such decisions?
Yeah, a lot of times. So with 38 studios, we had a long period of time. So for 8 years, things feel pretty solid. We have backers like Kurt Schilling, Todd McFarlane. We had a lot of funds. And so for the studio, and we just shipped a game. It felt really good. Halfway through that, it felt like a moment where we were going to be stable. And so my wife and I, we made the decision to, start our family. And so we did. So the plan was never, I'm going to have a child and keep moving on the road. It's just that life throws you cards, and you just got to play them, So my wife and I, my wife is very strong and very, very focused, and we know that family is a huge, that is my foundation of why I'm even standing here. So we did things like, when 38 Studios went down, my son was 1, and I worked out a deal with Konami where my wife would stay here, and I went to Japan for about 6 months, and I had to do a hard, through Skype. We would talk and stuff like that, but I had to be there at the grounds. Got to make money. You got to go where, and the tricky thing is the studios, they were a little wishy-washy with 38 studios, so. And then with my daughter, I was at Blizzard, so it was pretty solid. So just with my son, I had to make some moves. But my wife, she's from Seattle, and she really wanted to see the country anyway. And when you're by yourself, you're young, you can move around, you can make moves like that. But I think if I had kids before, it would have been vastly different. Family's more important. Yeah. So, cool. All right. Well, thank you. Right.